All right, what is up, guys? Politics Gaming here, and today we are going to be previewing Rulers of Nations. This is the second geopolitical simulator that has been made, and it was actually the starting point for a lot of different people that got into the geopolitical game set. And this was one of the first from Eversim that really started to take off, and everyone was just like, "Oh my god, this is a good game!" So we're going to be previewing Rulers of Nations. So we're going to go ahead and start up the game, and we're going to watch the intro if it'll show. Yeah, there we go. That's one of the cheesiest intros I've ever seen. I like the video of the drone strike, and then you can still see the car moving at the end of that. So, we're gonna go over here. We're gonna go to new game. So this is again Rulers of Nations. So there were three different games before Power and Revolution. There was Commander-in-Chief, which came out in 2009, and I actually believe there's a 2007 edition, and that the 2009 edition was more kind of like in the 2009 edition was kind of like a sequel to that. So I need to email him and kind of like ask him why I've seen pictures of the 2007 edition, because there actually might be a version that's actually again like a couple of years earlier. The music here, Time Machine. Yeah, apparently it's really pretty nostalgic for a lot of people out there. So we have the world in 2011, and then we have economic uptake. So reminder that this game was made in 2011, so the Great Recession was still happening, and that the biggest issues at the time was the Great Recession, the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq. I mean, the United States was like there's still U.S. troops in Iraq by this time. The war in Iraq was a big thing. And especially in the GPS-1, I even have my hands on GPS-1. So that's the fun thing about it. We have troops in Afghanistan, secure joint organization with the departure of your troop station in Afghanistan and annihilate the terrorist networks that are rife in this territory. We have opposition mode, obviously. We have nature rebels. All heads of state have to deal with natural disasters at one point or another. You have to show that you're quick to react, responsible, and able to anticipate future consequences somehow. Are you up to it? And you play as Indonesia. Okay. The Olympic Games are threatened as the British Prime Minister prevent all terrorist risks and make sure that the 2012 Olympic Games in London run smoothly. Warlord having some trouble supplying yourself with cheap, heavy arms without arousing the suspicion of the international community? Try the black market! Free media put an end to the accusations of the government interference in the media and give them total liberty by privatizing public channels. And for some reason, you play as the United States, in which their law is literally like fully free. Foreign military base, strengthen your geostrategic position by implanting a military base on foreign territory, and the budget deficit. And then the U.S. environmental policy, the 2011 re-election campaign. And then there's a bunch of other ones that I still haven't gotten to. So I am going to... How many points do I need? I'm going to go ahead and play as just one country for right now. So there's a lot of territorial, there's a lot of border changes that haven't happened yet. So I'll actually show you guys the differences on the map, because this is literally a time capsule. Like, I mean, it came out 11 years ago. I mean, it came out around a time that I actually made my channel. So let me look. So we have Taiwan, we have Russia, and we're just gonna go ahead and play as the United States. Huh. Options, 1 day, fixed, and let's go. Yeah, the funny thing about Japan...
For the new year, our revered head of state has decided to host 5 families representative of the people, who have thus been able to experience a day in the life of a world leader. What this basically meant is they went on a guided tour, notably of the kitchens and antechambers, and watched a gripping slideshow on the uniforms of the High Guard. At the end of the day, they were invited to a dinner, during which our esteemed leader made a brief appearance and said that he hoped, I quote, to renew this enriching experience so as to stay close to his people.
God, that was awful. So let's go ahead and pause it. So I know. So the biggest thing about this is to see who's in power at the time. By the way, there looks like there's a dick just drawn into Iran right here. Very, very small, in fact. So if you can actually come over here, you can actually come over to Iran and you can see a very familiar face. This is Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Ahmadinejad, he's a handful. He was basically this, like, very, very nationalistic president of Iran. And he was the one back in, like, if you were old enough to remember this guy, he was the one that was basically going like death to America, death to Israel. He was just out there. Like, he was a nutcase on the international scene. Ahmadinejad is in Iran. In Venezuela, we have Hugo Chavez in Venezuela. In Brazil, this is going to piss Mr. Vogel off. We do have Miss Lula, I believe, is still in power in Brazil in 2011. In 2011, we have this... I don't think that's Stephen Harper. David Cameron is in office at this time. So we see him right here. And then... who else? We have, obviously, Angela Merkel. In France, I can't really recognize the guy in France. So if you guys can help me with France, that'll be cool. And this was the first game in which they started to implement things like the 3D models. They kind of, oh my god, this guy just hasn't slept in Turkey. So this is before Erdogan, I believe. Unless Erdogan has been in here for a while. No, I think I remember whenever Erdogan came to power. In Russia, actually. We go to Russia. Russia, we have Dmitry Medvedev. Medvedev was the one that actually took power between 2008 and 2012. 2012 is whenever Vladimir Putin came back, and then that's whenever, and then since then we've had Vladimir Putin. But what some people might not know is that there was a 4-year gap in which Putin wasn't in power, but he was actually the prime minister of Russia. Sikorsky. Okay, so yeah, in France it's Sikorsky. And then in Japan we have, I don't think that's Shinzo Abe. I can't really remember. There was a kind of like a period of time where Shinzo Abe actually stepped away, and I think he came back in 2012 because I specifically remember whenever he came back in 2012. I don't think that's Abe. I don't think that's Abe. And then in India, can't remember who this guy is. Before Modi, Pakistan. What about Israel? Israel, it's Netanyahu. Damn, he was in there for a long time. What about Syria? Syria, we have someone that's supposed to look like Bashar al-Assad. This is actually the year that the civil war kicked off. So there's obviously no civil war in Syria because it's before the civil war actually happened. Masters of the world and rulers of nations, a simpler time, yes. South Africa, I definitely know, yeah, it's Sunglasses Man. I think in Argentina, yeah, there's a woman, I can't remember her name, but I do remember the person. I can't remember her name. And in Mexico, yeah, these are stock characters. The funny thing about this too is that the game actually came out in 2010. It came out like October 2010. In Japan, even though the game takes place in 2011, you can actually notice something here. So we have the Chernobyl disaster right here. Chernobyl has happened, obviously, it's that date of catastrophe 4/26/86. You go over to Japan, you notice something different. Come over here to Sendai, and then you look down, you see Fukushima Daiichi is actually online and it's producing 29.18 terawatts worth of power. Because this game came out in October 2010, the Japanese nuclear industry hasn't been shut down yet because the Great Earthquake of 2011 has not happened yet. So it's really, really interesting that, you know, again, this is literally a time capsule. Soundtrack is better. There's a lot of things about the earlier ones that are better. And actually, you can see that the regions, we have the central Honshu region, North Honshu, South Honshu, Central Honshu, and then South Honshu. So they actually split Honshu into 3 different sections instead of splitting it up by the actual regions. You didn't really see that until Masters of the World. I'll go through and I'll show you guys like all of the differences here, and then I'm going to go through and I actually want to show you guys the global competition. And then, but yeah, the biggest thing about Japan is really like, again, this is a time capsule in which, again, the Fukushima Daiichi meltdown has not happened yet. So it's very, very interesting. You can actually come over here to the comparative maps, and then you can go over to economic power, for example. And watch this. You have a 3D map that you can compare the world with. And then it actually shows you the time zones of each part of the world. So you can see that Rio de Janeiro is at -3 hours, while places like New Orleans is at 6 hours. And then come over here to budgets. Come over to your budget. Don't really see any differences here, except it shows, you know, the 2010, 2011. You see your budget deficit right here. You see your graphs. It kind of looks a little bit better. Like and I actually talked to, I think it was Gabe about this, that the core gameplay of, you know, Commander-in-Chief, Rulers of Nations, and Masters of the World, it hasn't changed. The biggest thing that has changed is the everything that you see. So like growth rates, everything like this. There's actually a couple of things, and I'm trying to get Commander-in-Chief to work, because it actually keeps crashing on me every time that I start the game. And I think I was able to kind of get it to run whenever I closed almost every single other active like window on my computer. So I'm having a lot of trouble, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to stream it. What I really need to get is to be able to get some footage off of it for the documentary that I'm going to be making. I actually also noticed that the economy seems a little bit more easy, I guess, so I can actually come over here. I can give agriculture a $500 million subsidy, and I think actually by the first month, disturbing budget deficits, simple recommendation, agreement negotiation. You can actually see you can't, if you miss one of these, then you can't go back. I don't think. I haven't noticed where you can go back. I don't think they've implemented that until Masters of the World. So you can see we automatically get 3.53%.
Here is our growth forecast.
Growth off of subsidizing our agriculture sector.
Morning.
I never get that in Power and Revolution. So, production. We're gonna refuse that. We're actually gonna try to.
Sure.
We're actually gonna try to import. Gameplay refined because of the limited number of countries you can play as. Oh no. Oh yeah, the other thing about China, look at China. So this was actually about a year before Xi Jinping came into power. So in China, the president of China at the beginning of the game is Hu Jintao. So this is the original Power and Revolution. This is the second Power and Revolution. This is basically the OG, where a lot of people started to play it at. A lot of people didn't really know about Commander-in-Chief, but a lot of other people knew about Rulers of Nations. This is GPS 2. This is Rulers of Nations Geopolitical Simulator 2.
One week before the beginning of the festival, the hotels are full of bursting.
He looks like he's blind. Is Putin in power? No, Dmitry Medvedev is in power. So again, you can look right here. Rulers of Nations was GPS 1. No, Commander-in-Chief was GPS 1. This is GPS 2. This is the second GPS. Oh yeah, the other big thing too is that Sudan. Look at Sudan. Sudan hasn't been split up yet. So South Sudan has actually not declared independence from Northern Sudan yet. Again, this game came out in 2010, and South Sudan became a country in 2011.
Barracks are full and our little guys are at their best. With their overtraining and their pumped-up morale, the only thing missing is a target for them to kill. In the meantime, they remain on alert for any reckless external elements who might try to pick a quarrel with us.
And I'll actually show you guys what happens whenever you pull out of Iraq. So at the time that this game came out, again 2010, was before the United States withdrew from Iraq. So if we come over here to military mode, you can see we have bases all over Iraq right now. So the United States is still not withdrawn from Iraq. So you could say, you know, this came out in 2010, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to be in Iraq anymore. I want to try to, you know, do better than George W. Bush and Obama were doing. Obama was the one that actually kind of like invoked the surge of troops into Iraq. So I'm just like, cool. I'm just going to go ahead and withdraw all of my troops from Iraq. I'm going to withdraw them now. Uh-oh. Okay. And that actually gives you like a very big like budget cut. You can literally get rid of a lot of money with that. So I was spending $285 billion annual cost overseas in 2010, and now I'm spending only $159 billion on my bases overseas. So that reduced the deficit. I'm like, cool. Go forward a couple of days. President of Taiwan wants to have a meeting, which 2010. I mean, cool. Let's go. A lot of terrorism that you can actually deal with as well. And again, I'm mainly trying to point out what happens whenever you actually withdraw from Iraq. More stable than Power and Revolution? Yeah, not really.
Academic. I must let you know a certain concern I have on the subject of your political orientations. I'm having a really hard time identifying.
He really doesn't like that I withdrew from Iraq.
Deep down, our troops are clearly managing to reduce the terrorist action. We need...
Good morning.
And I'm actually going to do this. Oh, come on, Taiwan.
Sure.
You know you want that. I realized some of the VA were recycled from previous GPS game. Yep. Yeah, that's exactly what they did. Except I don't think they necessarily recycled it, because I don't think they got, because there's like 100,000. They claim that there's 100,000 different like types of audio that you can hear in the game around that. And I think they use an AI voice generator. Do they use an AI voice generator, or did they actually use scripted voices? Independence. I'll have to look at the credits. Okay, so this is where you start to see the problems, and then you're just like, oh god, what have I done? Because you just withdrew all of your forces from Iraq. You look over, by the way, look who's Secretary of State. You got your lady Hillary Clinton in 2011, Secretary of State of Foreign Affairs, Helen Keeman. Then she comes up to you and says, Mr. President, some deputies have just resigned from their posts in the Iraqi parliament. This could be a simple anecdote of these, if these departures hadn't been caused by the revolts of the Shiite radical parties against the pro-Western policy of the government. In short, not really a catastrophe for the moment, but we must remain watchful. And then over the course of about a month, you start to see kind of like the dominoes start to fall on the Iraqi government. This actually was a thing in Masters of the World, because after ISIS popped up, I played Power and Revolution, and I was like, or I played Masters of the World, and it freaked me out, because I'm like, how did they know this? How did they know this was going to happen? Then popular protests in Iraq. Hundreds of thousands of Shiites are currently gathered in the city centers in the most big cities. The police alone cannot contain this huge crowd. Basra and Najaf are paralyzed. Baghdad no longer has control of its working class areas. The resignation of certain deputies from the Iraqi parliament, caused by the extremely violent sermons of the imams from the radical movements, is the reason for this disturbance. The government will attempt to establish a dialogue with the fundamentalist groups, but it will be difficult to find a consensus. And then again, go forward a couple of days. I think about a week. Serious political crisis in Iraq. No good news coming from Iraq, Mr. President. The fundamentalist parties refuse to open a dialogue and keep the pressure up. 3 ministers have already resigned from the government, which is becoming increasingly isolated. Part of the administration and the police have deserted. The armed forces are divided and risk remaining neutral during the political conflict. Our Iraqi partisans are starting to be scared. This reminds them of the Iran situation in the late 70s. So they're basically saying there might be a revolution in Iraq by this point. So it says that it reminds them of the revolution of the 70s in Iran. Go forward about a week, at least a couple of days. I think it's about a week. Yeah, it's about a week. Just laughs. Then, massive revolts against the Iraqi regime. The situation is very serious in Iraq, Mr. President. The governmental coalition is facing significant uprising in the most provinces. Organized groups are distributing weapons to the population, and the army doesn't seem to be willing to interfere with the rebels. Our soldiers have orders to watch for their own lives more than anything else. An Iraqi regime overthrown. It's over, Mr. President. The government's buildings have been taken over by henchmen of the fundamentalist Shiite parties, and a new Islamic Republic has been proclaimed. The population, mostly Shiite, unconditionally support the new regime, manipulated by the radical imams. The assaults on officials and the clashes caused several hundreds of casualties just in Baghdad. Our soldiers are hidden in their stations. It's a real catastrophe, and the worst thing is that our administration will be seen as responsible for it. So at that point, Iraq then becomes, instead of a parliamentary democracy, they become a communist, religious authoritarian Islamic republic. Then your relations drop with Iraq then collapse, essentially. And then I think at that point, they then become essentially a puppet of Iran at that point. So the biggest thing is that I guess and I'm too young to really have known the real situation that was going on in 2011, what everyone was thinking. And I think that's why a lot of people at the time, whenever Obama withdrew officially from Iraq and said, you know, we're done, he campaigned on ending the war in Iraq, and then he did it, and then almost essentially that's what happened. So essentially in Rulers of Nations and Masters of the World, if you do withdraw your troops from Iraq, then that's essentially all that happens, is that over the course of about a month, that the Iraqi government then collapses and becomes an Islamic republic. So a lot of people knew that if the US withdrew, it would immediately cause instability and that then the Iraqi government would collapse. But I guess in this case, the Iraqi government never really collapsed. It's just that they did kind of shift their policies, but they are still a democracy in that favor, I guess. We have 33 people watching. Guys, go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are very close to hitting 7,000 subscribers, so I would love to hit 7,000. We are at the sweet peppered number of 6.9 thousand, so it's very nice. I'm gonna be going through all of the little tabs here in a second. We going old school, yes sir, we are. I'm old, should I subscribe? Let me see if Dulles Airport is still in the wrong place. Washington, D.C. literally looks like one of those little mats that you had as a kid whenever like you have like the little city. Philadelphia, New York. Go to normal. And then so Crimea. Crimea is still Ukrainian. This is about 4 years, about 3 years before the Russians went into Ukraine, and I believe, is Poroshenko still in there? Yeah, it's the stock character, but I'm pretty sure that not Poroshenko, it was Yanukovych. Yanukovych should probably be in power in Ukraine at this point. We have Lviv, we have Kiev. They have it in here. Cherkasy. Zaporizhia. There's even the Zaporizhia. Zappa, the Zappa nuclear plant. Luhansk. Donetsk, Mariupol. Russia's kind of divided into its own regions, but Sochi. You can even see the mountains here. Can't even see them in Power and Revolution. You can actually see the Chechen Free Front. They were still a problem back in 2011. They actually ceased becoming a problem in 2017. Game runs better than the newest one, and it's because there's a lot less that's really trying to be processed. There's so much more that's trying to be processed in the new one, so that's why it runs way better. Because I mean, literally, yeah, it does run a lot better, but this one is not as demanding information wise. Look at Germany with all these nuclear power plants. To energy, so we can go over to energy. This is all that we have right here. And actually, I really like this feature right here. So if I go over to solar and make a solar plant, watch. You can literally see it be updated, I think, in real time. It's not. I guess that was in, what was it? Power and... Oh, hang on. Let me try this. So if we go over to construction. You know, the music kind of reminds me of, what was that game? Pandemic? It was the old Adobe Flash game on whatever. It was Pandemic. It's like before Plague Inc. there was Pandemic. Like that's where the Madagascar joke started from. That's how old I am, by the way. So like 24086. 24086. So if I actually come over here, Jesus Christ. Let's do 100. 100 of these, 240.86. Watch. Oh, I guess that was only Commander-in-Chief. Anyway, so we go over to finance, come over here, we see our growth rates. We see that our growth rate is 3.95%. We see our GDP, which is $14 trillion. GDP as world share, exports, imports. Then we have the farming industry. A lot of these sectors haven't really changed. It wasn't until like the 2020 or 2021 edition where they finally fixed the research tree. No, I think it was a 2019 edition. And they finally fixed the research tree. So originally, you were actually supposed to be able to invest in things like fusion power and everything like that in some of these older editions, but I guess they never got that much feedback on these games, so they didn't really know what to fix. I don't really know because I wasn't old enough and I didn't really know about these games until 2014. Environments, this is all way before they really, the global warming didn't really become a big gameplay feature until 2019, so it's kind of just a lot of basic stuff here. This is all the way before the Paris Climate Accords. So before Paris Climate Accords, that was like in 2015. They had the Kyoto-Protocol. So the Kyoto-Protocol was the Paris Climate Accords before the Paris Climate Accords. Kyoto-Protocol was opened for ratification in 1998 and entered into force in 2005. It commits the signatory countries to take precautionary measures to limit global warming. Your country is concerned is one of the 38 industrial nations that have absolute commitments to reducing the production of the 6 main greenhouse gases by at least 5.2% of the 1990 emissions by 2012. I have a year to reduce my climate emissions, so yeah. So in rulers of nations and masters of the world, Kyoto Protocol is an option for you to ratify. The United States actually infamously did not ratify the Kyoto Protocol, and it was always a contentious debate, especially during the Clinton administration. I can come over here and I can say, okay, I want to ratify the Kyoto Protocol, and then I can see it, and then this is what Congress looks like in 2011. So this is actually the year, so yeah, the game, wait, so it's 2011, the game came out in October of 2010, maybe they released an update, yeah, they probably released an update in 2011 to try to kind of like say, okay, this is what the Congress is going to look like, so that's, yeah, they probably updated it, I guess. But this is actually whenever the Democrats got just destroyed in the 2010 midterms. So we can actually come over here and, okay, so I'm going to go back to the Kyoto Protocol, because it actually doesn't show me both chambers there. So we can see that the Democrats still have control of the Senate, and they actually lost control of the Senate in 2014. The House of Representatives was taken by the Republicans, and again, this was like one of the biggest changes in the history. It was a landslide elections for the Republicans. The Democrats lost like 60 seats in this election, which in US terms, I mean, that is a landslide. That, like, they got absolutely hammered in the 2010 elections. Maybe I wouldn't say we're going to see something like that in 2022, this year, next month, actually. 2022 midterms is going to be worse, possibly. Yeah, and that's super entertaining playing these games. I know, I wish I knew about this game, like, way back when. Like, I'm really upset that I didn't get to figure out about this game until 2014. Dude, my cat literally just jumped on my chair and he's just trying to sit here. He just got here. Like, he just, I swear to God, this cat. He even looked at the camera for me. Oh man, I want to turn on my, hang on. I gotta get you guys to see this. I'm gonna do a face reveal real quick. Oh, that worked. Kitty cat. I know. Look at that. Look at that. What you doing, boy? Yeah, that's my cat. I just thought that was hilarious. Also, this is me. You guys haven't seen my face before. Oh, don't crash on me. Damn it, the game crashed. Fuck. This is your fault. It's your fault. You made the game crash because I had to minimize it to show my face. Oh, fuck. Oh, look, it's Garfield. It's Gabe Vogel in the chat. He's got a haircut. Damn it, I lost my gameplay. Fuck. Yo, dude, this is just cat gaming right here. Cat gaming, let's go. Now play as Brazil. No, 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 I don't want to go to Brazil. I don't want to go to Brazil. I actually want to show up the global competition, so actually watch this. Give me game, start a match. Brazil and GPS3 is OP.
Hello? You know as well as I do that to succeed in politics, you have to be fiercely competitive. As the leader of one of the world's greatest powers, forget modesty. You have to go for number one. To make it, all means are justified. You can count on my total support on this one. For starters, choose your character. I am of course available to advise you. Brazil is the largest emerging country of the American continent. Along with China, it is one of the few large countries in the world that has a budget surplus in this time of world crisis. With its large territory, considerable natural resources such as wood, coffee, iron, sugarcane, and corn. It also has major breeding activities and many significant industrial activities such as automobile construction, fuel, and plastics. However, despite its high manpower, its army is not as good as those of other great nations, and like all emerging countries, its degree of social development remains mediocre.
So apparently this, you can like...
To help you in your mission, you can choose secret targets. Once they are reached, you will win points and triumph sooner. If the target doesn't suit you, good luck, Mrs. President.
Reduce the number of terrorists in the world by 20%. Okay, so then I can say, okay, I want to do something else. Propose and vote through 10 UN resolutions. Try one more. The only head of state among the 16 to have a popularity rating of over 80%. This cat, I swear to God, this little creature. He looks so stupid. Oh my God. I swear to God. Oh my God, I love him so much. Look at him. Look how precious he is. Hello. He is gigantic compared to my chair. Okay.
Given that it is my duty to ensure the good financial management of this country,
Italy just went to war with Tunisia. Turkmenistan and Iran are going to war. Yo, let's go. It's just a headrest. That's what he is. How come you play the older one? I've been playing Power and Revolution for so long. I wanted to show off the older ones. North Korea versus Bangladesh. No, they signed an economic contract. Oh my god, if they started... That would have been funny as shit. These are all of them signing economic contracts. And so I need to keep my popularity rating above 80%. The 8 CE. Raise the minimum wage. That's how I do it. Against India is based. Shit.
The National
He's enjoying this for some reason. He's just purring very loud in my ear. I would pay $100 to Eversim if they would do weekly bug fixes. Yes, $100. How about you pay me $100? Bosnia and Herzegovina. Oh yeah, Myanmar has a different flag. You can actually see right there. Get moving. So we're gonna step out of this. I wonder if... Hang on. Global competition. The player game? Point an existing one. Someone's literally playing Rulers of Nations. What the hell? Okay. Damn it. It just keeps crashing on me. Yeah, Power and Revolution is more stable as an answer for some of y'all. I literally can't close out of this without it crashing. I might try to show off. I might try to show off. We call it a Commander-in-Chief. I'm not gonna deal with that right now. But he's just stealing the show. Hi. Look at the camera. Look straight at the camera. It's right there. See? Ah, there we go. See? Just posing. 10% with respect to your 90s emissions. I'll do this one. How many points do I get? 100. I'll do that one. We're gonna do... We can only play as the United States. So we're gonna immediately ratify the Kyoto Protocol, and then we're just literally gonna like raise some taxes, and then we're gonna reduce our emissions.
The Minneapolis Summit on Climate Change has just adjourned. According to all participants, it was a real success, especially after the disappointments at Copenhagen. The American authorities, in coordination with national associations, are firmly committed to quantifiable and dated targets for US CO2 emissions. According to specialists, this White House initiative will set an example for the rest of the world and should make it possible to set in motion a cycle of negotiations with all large industrialized nations.
I don't understand why those freaking bots just keep going on my channel. Okay, so environments, go over here. We're going to sign the Kyoto Protocol. And then, actually, we can't even make reforms on this. We're going to do the tax cut. And then we're going to do traffic in city centers reserved for public transport. Okay, we're gonna have to meet with the Democrats, try to get them to sign on. He's just relaxed there. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is precious. Just pouched. Trying to hold steady though. Keep moving around.
You are the demonstrator.
You were...
I must... You've...
I'd be... Yeah. That's... No problem.
And where was it?
I'm sorry.
Boo!
No problem.
Bar...
Just keep switching positions. Precious boy. Yeah, if you don't have a cat, something's wrong with you. So come over here. Air pollution, chemical pollution. We're gonna do about $10 billion into environment. We're just gonna fully fund everything. Slight difficulty. I love that whenever it's a slight difficulty and it's all over the country.
The demonstrators intend...
And that's actually what would happen before. Oh my god. That was actually what riots looked like before they implemented them in Power and Revolution. Power and Revolution actually was the one that switched it around and said, okay, instead of, you know, just seeing a riot pop up on your display, it literally just popped up as a riot, said slight difficulty, and it's all over the country. And in the new one, was where it just became a battle. Like, you would have to direct your forces and everything like that, or just send the army in there or something.
1 week. The bill.
Demonstrate.
The bill has been.
Bill has been voted on. Law has been passed.
The bill has been voted.
It's not a riot. It's a slightly tense situation. Just falling asleep there. Oh, yo, New Way is in here. Ministry of Domestic Affairs report on the preeminence of public order. The situation is clearly improved throughout the entire country. Yo, New Way is in here? Let's go. There's Paulo. Oh, hi. Look at him. He is the king. King of everything, right? He's the king of the stream. Wait, there's multiplayer in this game? Yeah. There was multiplayer in Masters of the World. There was literally multiplayer in, like, all of these games. I don't know... No, I think there was in Commander-in-Chief. Commander-in-Chief, there was multiplayer, and then there was multiplayer in this, and there was multiplayer in Masters of the World. Power and Revolution is the only one that does not have multiplayer. There's even multiplayer in World of Leaders. World of Leaders was, like, solely multiplayer.
It's undeniable. Our mobilization strategy is having...
The other funny thing about this too is that actually if I go over to arms embargoes, go over to military operation, no. Go over to army, go over to legislation, I select China, go over here to manage arms embargoes. It literally says that I have an export ban on China, which is true because the United States placed one on China, I think in like 91 when H.W. Bush came into power. No, it wasn't 91, it was 89, after, oh, he left. No, come back. Come back. He left me. There actually was a there actually still is a arms embargo on China, and the reason that happened is because of the incident that never happened in 1989. So if you can guess what that was, the day that never happened, the incident of 1990, 1981, 1989. Jesus Christ. Where's Niue? Niue somewhere around here. Cat doesn't like. Oh yeah, that's what I want to look for in this game. I want to see if George Bush is in here. Organizations, head of state, other parties. So John Betting. I think that's Boehner. John Boehner. Where's my man? Where's my man George Bush? Buddy Bush. Speaker of the House. Wait, no, that's Boehner. So that's Mitch McConnell. I don't know who she is. She looks weird. Terrifying. The Slight Difficulty of China in 1989. These might be stock character. Oh. We play the political process soon. I need to... It's like going to Brazil. I don't want to go back to the political process. It's like, I don't want to go to Brazil. I don't want to go to Brazil. I don't want to go back to the political process. Maybe George Bush is in Commander-in-Chief. That's what I would have to look for.
Respect. Our great.
For the moment, no crisis in sight. So that's if you don't withdraw your troops from Iraq. If you do withdraw your troops from Iraq, then is that? Do you guys say Iraq or is it? Do you guys say Iraq? Because I say Iraq. Iraq has always been a really interesting country to me, honestly. See, I said Iraq. Iraq. Oh, yeah. Hang on. He's not in here, but, my man, my boy, I can't even pronounce the name of this administration that he had, but you can see that my man Gaddafi is still in here. Even though it's not Gaddafi, but he is the guide of Libya. He was guide, no election, appointed for life. And you see the little green, it's just a green flag. That's just it. That's it. Iraq. Ooh, what about Egypt? Egypt. Nah, it's stock character. Iraq is pronounced Iraq in the UK and Iraq in the US. Iraq. Army helicopter crash.
We've just been informed that one of our helicopters crashed on taking off. There are no survivors.
No! Belarus? Oh yeah, let me see if Lukashenko is still in here. Nope. You know, he's been in power since the 90s. Oh yeah, Erdogan. Was Erdogan in power in 2011? I think. Might be getting that wrong. There's no way he's been in power since 2011. Cyprus is one country. So there's no northern occupied area of Cyprus. Just like in hey, this game is pretty similar to Superpower 3. Superpower 3, let's go. Shenzhen. Who the hell is Hong Kong? Isn't even in here. Sha Tin, Tua Mun, Julong. I guess it's just not the entire city of Hong Kong. Tua Mun. Nostalgia, a little bit. I never really played it back then, but I only just recently got my hands on it, so yeah, it's more of a nostalgia kind of throwback. Myanmar, we can actually see that the Myanmar flag is still the Burmese flag. Nepal, Afghanistan, 10 years before the fall of the Islamic Republic. Erdogan has been in power since 2003. I think this is Hamid Karzai. That's Karzai right there. I remember Karzai. Karzai was the guy that was in power before the last one. I can't remember the last one's name, but I do remember Hamid Karzai, and they actually named the airport after him. So the airport that you saw all those C-17s kind of like evacuating out of, that was Hamid Karzai International Airport. So yeah, this game 10 years before the fall of the... And again, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad is in power. What else? Let's go ahead and oh yeah, we're basically waiting on kind of like reducing our CO2 emissions. That's the thing. I almost forgot about that. Georgia has the new flag. And when did they change their... I think they changed their flag in like 2003. So sick, it's not even funny. It was hilarious. The G8 to include China? Hell no. Hell no. Ain't doing the G9. Oh yeah, the G8 is still a thing. The G8 is still a thing after all that kerfuffle. Is now it's the G7. They only made it the G8 after it was like the Soviet Union collapsed, and then they made it to G8 because Russia joined back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and then the Russians got suspended from it, or I think they actually just completely kicked them out. They kicked Russia out of it in 2014 after the invasion of Crimea.
Our agents.
Quackshot, yo, what's up? I have not seen you in a very long time. Russia's so horrible, but they have the best national anthem in the world. Russia, Shushenaya, Nasha, Dershava, Russia, Lubimaya, Nasha, Strana. Ah, yes, the infamous bug where it's literally just a spear of the Prime Meridian. Just go straight through London. They couldn't figure out how to fix it. Right through France. Literally kind of like right almost through Catalonia. Yeah, seriously, this song reminds me of Pandemic 2. Clipped, canceled, and flagged for being a Russian spy.
Here is our growth.
Damn, it's really just taking forever to go down, ain't it? And that's like that's actually the other thing. They don't even have like the constructions, so we can't literally just build the crap out of all those CO2 eating machines and call it a day.
I have a small favor to ask.
Hell yeah. Nepotism, let's go. I like how if you zoom out far enough, Florida just becomes completely flooded. See? Right there. Yeah, there goes New Orleans. Corpus Christi's gone. Guess New York's probably gone too. Actually, yeah, Boston's even gone. Strange looking at the old version. Hopefully you can handle the numerous bugs. Yeah, I mean, it's old. It's old. Level of information, privatized. Against no China in my G8. Can we remove Russia from it? Reject therefore China's request to join EG8. Finally, you're streaming this game, a legendary game. Let's go.
The report.
Report.
Perspective.
Total Jihad. Oh, wonder what they became. Gee, where do we get this game? It's on Steam, but again, it's very old. Very old. So don't expect, you know, the pristine, perfect game if you're getting it. This game dropped, people were like, oh my god, the graphics are sick, brah. There's a lot of graphical glitch. I'm gonna make all of y'all yawn now. There's a lot of graphical glitches from what I can see. How'd you get it running? No, it doesn't run on many PCs anymore. I just hit the play button. I didn't really, you know, have to mess with that too much. Make money out of taxing pets. I believe you can take them infinity money. I know you can do that in Power and Revolution with the, I think it's the financial transaction tax, because I remember seeing someone with like a 200% financial transaction tax. Creation, pet tax. Can you imagine paying $200 for having a pet? Tax on dogs early. The tax where it exists is usually applied to the sole benefit of local districts. A federal pet tax. You have a direct link to Eversim. Do they listen to your feedback? If you guys actually see the debt screen, how kind of like debt, kind of like you can pay it back incrementally, or just kind of like the way it kind of looks now compared to what we had at the pad like in 2016, or I think it was like before 2021. I think all of that was mine. I actually sent them an email back in like 2018 and I didn't realize it until I kind of looked back on it. I need to go back and find that email because I have it somewhere. And start a war, please. Hell yeah.
We are going to...
Did I hesitate? All you literally have to do in this is just send all of your troops.
We are going to...
You're going to attack this country. So long as you have enough troops.
Our agents.
And actually, I can do this too and not, like, get reprimanded for it. Well, at least I could in Masters of the World. I don't know if this will work. My air base.
This country's on...
You're just massacring my troops. Alright, so how many people have I lost? You won't tell me. You streaming on Twitch? No.
The report. Several major operations were launched in terrorist strongholds, and they were all a success. We can be proud of our boys. They did a great job. Arrests, armament confiscation.
Let's go. Alright, surrender. Cuba takes over the United States. Oh man, classic. I'm gonna go ahead and end it right here. I've been streaming for about an hour. Just kind of want to do like a short stream today, kind of show off Rulers of Nations. I really want to get Commander-in-Chief to work. That would be really cool if I were to be able to get Commander-in-Chief. Then I can just show you guys the original, and I'm pretty sure you guys would be interested because I've tried it a couple of times and it won't work for me for some reason because it doesn't. It keeps crashing every time like I get through the starting screen. Like right as the main menu is about to load up, it literally just kind of like trips over itself and it crashes. So I think you guys would enjoy. I think you guys would enjoy a preview of Geopolitical Simulator 1. So, I'm gonna try to figure out how I can get that thing to work, because even the guy, the Louis Marie Riquez, he even told me, he said, like, these games are old, so, like, they may not work, and we can't really assure that they're gonna work or not, so, really, I think there's a lot of things, and there's actually, like, in Commander-in-Chief, there's actually this, like, one big thing that I really want them to bring back. And if you actually go to your Finance tab, it actually... God, I really want to figure out how to get it to work. I still have the CD. Send it to me. Send it. I'm gonna get a PO box just so you can send it to me. But in Commander-in-Chief, there's actually this little tab where it shows who your biggest imports and who your biggest exports are. And it's not even by sector, it's by country. So you can actually, and it actually even shows you like your economic growth, and it compares it to places like Japan and the European Union. So especially with the European Union in Power and Revolution, that would actually be really cool to be able to, you know, play as the United States and see how you were competing against the European Union and Japan. Like, there are a couple of different things that I actually I'm going to make a list of them, and then I'm going to send it over to Eversim to try to get them to bring it back. Just noticed I freeze there for a second. But yeah, like, so I think that would be very interesting. And so yeah, I want to figure out how I'm going to be able to get, you know, Commander-in-Chief to work. But once I'm able to do that, I will definitely stream it to you guys. So guys, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you guys want to see more content like this, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss anything geopolitically related whenever I do make it. I'm really focusing on trying to make this a geopolitical channel, and we can talk about, you know, real life geopolitics and more. I actually have a new video that's probably going to be coming out, and it's going to be using like a nuclear war simulator, and I actually want to talk about like whether, like, what would realistically happen in the case of a Russian nuclear attack in Ukraine. So it'd be a more, you know, seriously leveled video. Yeah, so I really do want to kind of start, you know, expanding more into geopolitics on this channel. I mean, this is basically, at this point, this is a geopolitical channel. So yeah, I really want to kind of, like, you know, start expanding out into just more geopolitical videos. Kind of like Caspian Report, but, you know, I'm not, you know, obviously I'm not going to be copying a Caspian Report. But Caspian Report is actually a pretty big inspiration for me, because he makes some amazing content. So if you guys don't know who Caspian Report is, go and watch him if you guys like geopolitics. Played almost all continents and regions except for the Caribbean. You play Power and Revolution one time as Jamaica and try to form the West Indies Federation. That'd be a good idea. I can actually try to see how that would work. But yeah, guys, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're about to hit 7,000 subscribers, so I would like to hit 7,000. And again, I am doing a $100 giveaway at 10,000 subscribers. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much